10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this June 10th, 2019 evening. And Chris, it was a busy weekend in the bodybuilding world, on the good side of things and on the bad side of things. And we're going to get to all that in a little bit. But I think we should start off today's show with a special message from one of your tenants.
Oh, you want to go right to the tape?
I think we should go right to the tape. I'm so amused.
That means we have a shitty show, but go ahead.
Yeah. I'm so amused. I want to do something funny to start off because we got some bad news to report. And I got, I'd rather start off with people laughing and stuff like that. But I have to tell you, this guy, he's a gem. He's like, if we had like a daily radio show like Howard Stern, he'd be like the guy calling in every single day. Right?
Listen, it's 12:10 at night. You want his number? We can call him right now. He'll probably pick up the phone.
He probably will. He probably will.
He would, because he can't sleep. Because
what's his name? Phil, right? Not Phil.
No, don't. I don't want to get sued. Don't mention his name. Don't.
I don't know his last name.
Or where he lives, or.
Hold on, let me pull this message up here. I hate it whenever I put my phone in. The microphone always picks up something. Hold on. It's a long message. Should I play the whole thing? It's long. The best part is the end. Maybe I think to get the full taste of it, you have to really hear the whole thing. All right, here we go. Chris, why don't you play that? You play the message, and then we'll comment. Play the whole thing. Right,
here we go. And action.
Hey, Chris, Phil, Shaman Street. You didn't know the situation over here. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I mean, the girl upstairs let the boyfriend move in. The boyfriend knows the people across the street. So now we got Grand Central Station inside. And this is the night. You had a party last night. There were 50 people out there, I swear to God. Little kids are trying to climb up the little fire escape we've got. They're out in the back. I mean, it's not safe what they're doing. Across the street, that woman come out and throw the kids out. And this is going on every night now. The last night was the best one. Anyhow, to get back to it, they're barbecuing down on the porch. John's not even home, okay? The smoke's coming in the house. You see sparks coming up. I mean, there's drunks. I mean, come on, Chris, seriously. I mean, I'm a patient man, but goddamn, this started 2 weeks ago and it hasn't stopped every night. 95% of these people don't even fucking live here.
95 of the 50 people.
And then she lets her mother move in, so you got a zoo going on upstairs. And I mean, and it all boils down to taking references, Chris. I mean, my God. The reason you have half these problems are the people that you're letting into the building.
He should screen them for you.
I mean, seriously, you wonder where bed bugs in this house come from. My
I
God,
knew the bed bugs were coming up.
Station. I've been out once in the last month, Chris. My legs will not hold me anymore. Doreen's got PTSD. I mean, you know, there's mold in our bathroom, finally. I mean, the light is about to fall down.
Here it goes. He wants a remodel.
Down and hit me in the head. I mean, the inside of this place needs work, Chris, and you know that. My God, you've seen the bathroom. I got a medicine cabinet that's rusty, that's just about ready to fall out of the wall. And I could go on about the bathroom. The bathroom is ridiculous. Not to mention the bedroom's never been done.
So don't mention it.
And I've been here over 12 years now. I was at Spada Street about 2, so I've been your tenant, 15 years? I mean, I'm not asking for miracles. It's not going to cost a fortune to do this bathroom. My God. With all the property you own, you've got to have a suspended cell and a gallon of paint. I mean, there's mold up there. I don't want to call a Board of Health on just to have that done, you know.
Now he's threatening you. Yeah.
But I mean, you got little kids running around coming up the fire escape. We can't even open the windows because of all the noise. The smoke's just pouring in here. You can't hear the TV. And needless to say, the cops have been here again.
Because he calls him on the 50 people upstairs.
So, once again, I mean, you're going to have to deal with it. I can't do anything about it. I talk to these people. I ask them nicely, please lock the door. They not only don't lock it, it's wide open. So,
you should just hire him, Chris.
Dave, the door that's wide open.
Yeah.
If you put a brick in it, the self-closer is such a wacky self-closer.
Yeah. If
you put 2 bricks in it, it'll swing it'll
still
catapult
close.
the bricks right into the air.
Yeah, it'll still close.
Yeah. And so, anyhow,
Chris, the SPACs are coming right up through the window.
I send someone
light this place on fire.
I send someone over to look at his apartment,
right.
And they send me pictures back. They said, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Well, he said he's got rusty this, the light's falling off."
Yeah.
It's like, it's not brand new, but it's brand new.
Yeah, he probably has. Yeah, he has the life. Yeah, Chris, the mold. Come on. How many? Wait, you want to know why you have bed bugs? Come on. You got all these people coming in here. 50 people. They're potting. I got smoke coming in the window with the SPACs. Come on, Chris. I have to tell you this stuff. They got these little kids like monkeys climbing all over the fire escapes.
50 people upstairs, and 95% of them don't live here. So what's 5% of 50?
And then Chris sends me the review he got from his Airbnb. He's got people complaining about your Airbnb.
I review the reviewers, right?
I don't know how you do it. I don't even
because I get 377 5-star reviews, and one guy gives me a 1-star review, so I reviewed him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even address it, but you take it personally.
Oh, it's fun too.
You take it personally. That's why. Because you
I do.
Because you put a lot of effort into your.
Oh my God! Come on. You know what, Dave? The guy goes over. I'll give you the example. We'll come back to the Airbnb. The guy goes over to look at the rusty medicine cabinet, and the rust is like 1.5 centimeters. There's like a itty bitty piece of rust.
Right. And he wants the whole thing redone. It's falling out of the wall, Chris. Come on. 15 years I've been here. When are you gonna step it up? I don't want to have to call the Board of Health on you to get you to do this. Come on, Chris.
Well, he has before.
I'm sure he has.
And you know what they've done?
What? Laugh? They've
gone and say, "Are we at?" I'm dead, Dave. I'm dead serious. They call me on my cell and say, "We got called because, like code enforcement. We got code. We called because we got reports that the apartment was." The tenant thought it should be condemned. I'm dead serious, Dave. I should get the code guy on.
The funny thing is that you leave and you keep
when you
this
call
guy.
me for it, they said we are so impressed the way the building looks.
And the funny thing is you keep him too. Most people would evict him. You've kept him for 15 years. And
his legs don't function. He said so.
I can't even walk anymore, Chris. They don't work. Post-traumatic stress disorder.
He's got too many bed bug scars on his legs to keep him from walking.
What do you expect? You have 50 people who don't live in the building in and out of here. You're going to get bed bugs, Come on, Chris. I don't have to tell you this crap.
The guy
have a good weekend.
The guy is... Someone is painting his bedroom on Monday. Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
You got someone in there. Okay. He'll be complaining about the fumes.
Yeah,
Chris, man, I got Agent Orange. You paint fumes. Now I got cancer of the lungs. What do you want me to do? You got people spraying in here, and you got people with the bed bugs, and you got paint in the walls, and
too many fumes convalescent
It'll be
in
your
one,
fault. Yeah, it'll be your fault.
one place, and it's making one giant toxic bomb that's going to kill everything but the bed bugs.
I'm so happy I don't rent anymore. Oh my God.
Dave, that's you want to put it in context? He is the only him and this little old lady. Sometimes I'll send you
Yeah, you sent me hers too.
a message.
Chris, it's so and so.
Yeah.
I have to just tell you, the aliens came down last night. They tried to get me through the window. If you would have had a better lock on there, I would have been able to resist them.
Yeah, she was just concerned about the paranormal activity. That's what I sent you the voicemail. But
Yeah.
he's the only one, so it's either him or it's no one else, or it's it's him.
I had a guy who I evicted from an apartment, one of my houses, and then the tenant upstairs found him. He had somehow gotten back in there and was sleeping on the floor after I had redone the whole thing. And this was a guy who had a lot of money at one point. He became a drunk. I felt bad for the guy, but can't have him sleeping in an apartment. I was trying to rent the thing. I was trying to sell the house at the time. I've had a lot of crazy. You could never get away with getting non-crazy people in apartments because people are just nuts. That's all. They're nuts in general.
Yeah, Dave. I think I told you that once. I rented to this lady. Impeccable references. Worked at a bank. Her landlord gave her references. She was a hoarder.
Oh no.
Okay, so we redid this apartment, right?
Yeah.
And she moved into the apartment, and for some reason I had to go over there, for something. And I said, let me go visit this person who just moved in. I knocked on the door. The stuff was piled. She'd been there 3 days. The stuff was piled everywhere you could see, all the way to the ceiling.
Wow.
I mean, to the ceiling. Wow. So someone helped her move all the stuff wherever she was before.
Lucky you. So what'd you do?
I evicted her right away.
Oh, you did? Wow.
I said, Did
she take all the stuff with her when you evicted her?
Yeah, she took all that stuff out.
Wow. Yeah, hoarding is a terrible.
My concern. I mean, I was concerned about that, but she had like 8 cats too, and there was no pet policy.
Forget about it. Yeah, it would have stunk to high heaven in there.
Yeah, you would have never got it out.
No. So one of my good clients, my friend Billy Hooper, sent me. He does oysters out of the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia, and he provides restaurants and all these with it. He's been telling me about this for about 2 years now, and finally he put a bunch of them together, packed them up in ice, and shipped them off to me. And man, I haven't had a raw oyster. I can't even tell you in how long.
I love oysters.
Oh, they're so good. I should give you this guy's number. You go crazy. I had to shuck them myself. I actually did a little video on shucking them. He sent me a shucking knife, but the shucking knife isn't getting here till tomorrow, so that's not going to help. It wasn't going to help me then. But man, was those oysters good? Oof.
What'd you put on them? Anything?
They're hybrid oysters too. I don't know what they bred specially so the shells are actually like thinner. So the oyster spends less time baking a shell and more time actually producing meat. So they're meaty, oysters, and they were pretty easy to open. I put nothing on them. They didn't eat anything. They were so delicious. I was just sucking them right out of the shell. My wife Amanda was horrified.
I think they're like fertility food. So
I know. Well, luckily she's
be careful.
Well, she's pregnant right now, so
I
don't think I can get her pregnant again at this point. She's still pregnant.
Oh, wait! Be careful. We may have to cancel the show.
Yeah, I might have a second twin on the way. But no, they were delicious. And he also sent me mahi fillets, which I haven't eaten yet. I'm going to eat them probably tomorrow. And I love fish, and I don't really go out to fish restaurants because Amanda doesn't really love fish at all. She's more into burgers and stuff like that, chicken. So I don't really go that often to fish restaurants. So this was like a real treat. So I wanted to personally thank Billy Hooper for that very nice surprise.
Everyone sends you free stuff.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of stuff actually. If you see on a daily basis, I'm always opening stuff. I get free T-shirts and free products to try, and the funny thing is, I only really promote the stuff that I really like. I always appreciate all the gifts I get from people, and I try to wear every single shirt that people send me just as an appreciation on our TV program. But sometimes I get products from people and I'm like, okay, these are good, but they're not like something that I would recommend necessarily. So I don't, I'll say thank you to the person, but I don't go out my way to, tell people to buy them. So I'm for, I can't be, bought off essentially, by just giving them gifts, but I always appreciate that because I like people who do creative endeavors and I want to always see new things. And sometimes I get ideas from it too.
What's the best gift you've gotten?
I don't know. Probably the Muhammad Ali picture you sent me.
Oh,
That was my best.
I think that it was on the 3rd. Yeah, June 3rd was the 3rd anniversary of his death.
Oh, it was? Wow.
Yes. And I think June 3rd, Louisville, Kentucky airport renamed its airport the Muhammad Ali
Really?
Airport.
Who knew? That's kind of cool to have an airport named after you. I always thought that would, if you have an airport named after you, you pretty much made it, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
There's only so many airports, in the world. What's what was, what the name of the airport was before they named it the JFK airport in New York?
Was it the, it's funny because I read that recently somewhere actually.
What was it? It had a weird name. I didn't even know it had a name before that.
Was it Field? There's something Field, right? Didn't they call it Field?
I think so. I always thought it was just JFK Airport. I'll look it up. Now it's going to drive me crazy. I read it recently too, and I was like, really? Huh. The Roosevelt Field Mall by my house, my old house in New York on Long Island, was where it used to be an airport. That's where, what's his name, took off. Lindbergh, when he flew across the Atlantic. Yeah.
He landed. He had landed his plane on the beach in Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Oh, did he really? That's when he came back?
I don't know. I don't think when he came back. I just think it was I think after like a victory stop.
It was opened as New York International Airport, was commonly known as Islewood Airport.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The airport was renamed JFK International after his assassination. So,
what's the airport near Twin Labs' old factory?
Oh, that's that's the shoot. Why can't I come up with the name in my head?
It was right next to
they're always, whenever I work for Blackman, they're always like, how come you don't want to fly out of there? I'm like, because it's not close to me. That's all the way out east on Long Island. I live, more towards the city. So for me, JFK and LaGuardia were better than going out to that airport. That one's convenient though. It's small.
Yeah.
And if you're going out there,
you fly right over the creatine formulas and the
exactly.
and the ripped fuel when you're flying in there.
Yeah. Exactly. So I ate oysters. What else did I do? I actually went for sushi this weekend too.
Oh yeah, I haven't had sushi in ages. You don't have sushi much when you have kids.
No. But we went. It was like a buffet, so that we went there. But it was a good one.
You missed your place, your buffet in.
Yeah, I used to eat there every day.
That was one of the best buffets ever.
Yeah, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was great.
Something Joe's, Sushi Joe's, or.
You're right. I've blocked out everything in New York. I don't remember anything anymore. The only thing I remember is Taco Joe's.
Well, you used
no, it
to
was
eat
Taco
there
Joe's.
day.
No, it was Taco. It was Sushi Village. Sushi Village.
Yeah, didn't you eat there every day?
I did for a little while. Yeah, I was eating there every day.
It was tremendous. It was fresh.
I was like a preferred customer there. they no matter how crowded they were, they'd find a table for me. It was like that scene in Goodfellas where they pull the table out of the back room, they slide it all the way up to the front, and they put him right in front, to watch the show. That's what it was like for me. Oh, Dave's here. Oh, get him a table.
By the way, I did watch the after the show last week. I watched the Jimmy Quidd interview.
Oh, you did? How'd you like it?
Oh, off the charts.
He's great, right?
Yeah, he was having a hard time opening his eyes though.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe he has dry eyes. He's 60. Can you believe it?
What's that?
He's 60 years old. I can't even believe it.
He looks incredibly. Him and Jay Cutler have the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Well, the fountain of youth is just good living, Good living. He's got good genetics.
What I say, I predicted. I was going to tell you that I thought that he would have a University of New Hampshire T-shirt on, and he did.
You were right. Yeah.
No, because he played football there. My
I
sister
know.
went there when I think he was like a senior when she was a freshman.
Oh, real? Oh, she was there while he was there. That's funny.
Yeah, he was like a big man on campus.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Was he?
Yeah, he was like a big deal there. I think he got drafted by the Cowboys.
He did. He said he played. He went to camp one day. Remember we talked about it in the interview.
Yeah. Why did he only stay one day?
He got hurt, I think.
Yeah.
He says it was like a cold. He realized he was in way over his head. He said it was a big difference from, you know.
He would have been tremendous in WWF.
Oh, you definitely would have. He didn't want to. I think he was offered. I think Vince offered to him. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to get hurt. He's hurt now. He has injuries now. Can you imagine the injuries he would have had at his size?
Yeah.
And then I always thought about that too. I'm like, I wonder if I would have gone to I probably would have been crippled. You know?
Yeah, he would have between the shoulders and the knees.
Yeah. I don't know how those guys do it, but they're all injured. Look, Triple H has torn a million muscles. Cena's got injuries. They're all injured. There's no way you get out of it unscathed.
No, Tony Atlas got no injuries.
But he wasn't in it that long. And they didn't do crazy moves back then when he was in it, I don't think. Did they?
I don't know. Yeah, he fought a lot of people, you know.
He was a genetic freak, though, too. It's like Ronnie Coleman, you know,
He's
doing
still
it.
a genetic freak. He's still a genetic freak.
I know. I still got to get him on the show.
He beat Lee Haney.
He did?
Yes, he was the last guy to beat Haney, or the last amateur to beat Haney.
That's crazy.
Like Coastal, I think it's called the Coastal USA.
Tony Atlas versus fucking Lee Haney. How about that?
I mean, Tony Atlas he has to have, anyone who sees him even today, he has to have some of the best genetics.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, Haney never had big arms. Atlas's arms were enormous.
He's still got huge arms.
Yeah. That's funny. I would have loved to. I'm sure the pictures are someplace that you could do. Someone's got them somewhere.
He'll rattle off his cycle too. It's like a Bikini Girls.
Rope Man probably's got the pictures of that show. Man, yeah, I got those pictures. Of course I do.
Yeah, you have to get Tony on sometime.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. He'd be a great interview.
He was the WWF tag team champ with Rock's uncle, Rock's father, Rock's son.
Oh, yeah, the Rock's uncle. I mean, a father. Rocky.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably got some good stories. He's probably like, man, I knew Rock when he was a little baby. He's come to the shows.
And I told you Arnold picked him to play in Conan the Barbarian, but
they wanted Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain actually ended up getting the role. But Arnold wanted him.
I don't blame him. He was a freak. Back then, there weren't that many freaks back then. Time frame. So let's talk about some of the. Let's talk good news first. Let's talk about some of the shows from this past weekend. The Dallas Europa show is this weekend, now called the Europa Games.
Listen, I saw the Dallas Europa, another 212 show. For the supposed death of the 212 division, there's an awful lot of 212 shows with an awful lot of good competitors.
You're damn right there is. And what a great top three. Now, Santi Aragon, who was doing classic physique, surprised everyone. He surprised me at least, and switched it to 212 at the last minute, which is, he's one of these guys that can cross over, and I think if a guy like him can cross over, and he was a welterweight, right, when he turned pro originally?
I believe so. He's 189 here and 180 in Puerto Rico. That's what Andrew Vu told me.
Right. So, here's a guy who's successfully doing classic and 212. Then I think there's a lot of guys in that. I know Keon Pearson told me that he wants to do 212 next year.
I think it'd be pretty
dangerous.
Pretty darn good. Pretty dangerous.
He said that that's ultimately where he wants to go, and he sees himself going there. And that's a guy who could certainly be a classic guy. He's got classic everything written all over him. He's just a little short. I'd love to see him bulk up another 10 pounds, right?
Oh, he'd be brutal. He'd look like a little Bertle Fox.
He does. He looks like a miniature Bertle. Like someone shrunk Bertle Fox down. That's who you got there. With a smaller waist, probably. So Hide drops down to 212. he's been going back and forth for the last 2 years, up, open, down to 212, open, 212. I would say this is probably his best conditioning we've seen from him in several years here.
I'd say it's his best conditioning in, let's say, years. I'm trying to go back,
He looked good when he won that Arnold, when he shouldn't have beat Jose that year.
Yeah, Jose's listening, so thank you. No, he should not have beaten Jose.
No, he shouldn't have, but he did look good that year.
Maybe that's why they canceled the 212 Arnold Classic.
But he did look good. He was in good shape. He just wasn't better than Jose.
He just should not have won that year.
So, I mean, Hide's got a lot of titles under his belt. But this conditioning is great. I thought originally Milos helped him because, I know he was training with Milos for a little while, but you immediately, without even knowing, said, no way Milos helped him. Now, why did you say that?
Because he went for peeled AC, which is peeled at all costs.
Milos would have gone along with that.
Not only did he cut out the carbs, but you said he cut out the what?
Probably cut the fats too, I bet.
You said he just went on like the Blackman fish and vegetables, or the Irish cow fish and vegetables and 3 hours of cardio a day.
Yeah. Iris is famous for that, and obviously
Just
Iris
at all costs because he could not risk for his own head leaving the open where he looked good in and coming down to 212 and not winning the show that he was set out to do. It's just. Hide's mentality. It's he's got the right mindset.
Yeah, he's how old do you think Hide is now? Is he 40?
First thing I thought of, he's got to be 43, 44, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but he's one of these guys that will never age. He'll be competing when he's 60. We'll still be like, how old Hide? Is he 40? He'll be 60. He's got one of those ageless faces. Asian people don't age anyway, you know that. They get good skin and they don't show their signs of aging.
It was a very effective look, super tight, and
abs, glutes, everything was in.
Well, if he looked super tight in the pictures, then he was like
ridiculous in person.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I heard from people who were there; they were very impressed. A couple of people said, his conditioning was really impressive.
Well, people were sending me like screenshots of like the front double bicep and saying, "What's going on here?" I said, "What do you mean, what's going on?" Because they had in the picture, it's Hide on the left, Duran in the middle, and then Santiago on the right. And I'm like, they're like, Hide's not winning the show. I said, no way Hide's going to lose this show. Well, he's not in the middle. I'm like, there's only 3-guy call out. I'm like, they don't always put people in the middle when there's a 3-guy call out. So Hide definitely easily won this, but Dura looked great. I thought Santiago looked great. I don't think it was a blowout, but I think that Hide won this show on conditioning. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think he won on conditioning, but it's interesting. I bet when you see the scorecards, I bet he pulled the head on the posing, even though they didn't judge the posing. You watch. Quote, even though they didn't quote judge the posing. I bet it played a role. They according to the scorecards, it was just he got unanimous first, but they only showed one round of judging, so I don't know. I mean, that's well, maybe they didn't judge the night show. They just went for
they probably didn't. Yeah, they probably didn't. What happened to Sammy Trudy, 7th place?
Would he get 7th?
Yeah, that was a disappointment.
It's funny, he's got the tools, but he's got to be peeled because you're going up against a Hide, or Santi Argon, blah, 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 blah. Santi, I just call him one.
He did not look hard at all. He's got to bring the conditioning. I don't know what's going on with him, but you can't show up at a show like this out of shape. I mean, he doesn't even have any cuts in his glutes whatsoever. Definitely, probably about 2 to 3 weeks off, I'd say. Out of shape. Sometimes you get too heavy in the off season, Chris. It's hard to bring that conditioning in. That's the truth. Yeah, no, it's you got to be kind of in striking distance unless you're just lucky. I mean, unless you can just peel it down in 10 to 12 weeks. Jose Reyes also looked really good. Who placed 4th? Peel. Yes, he looked very good. He was shredded. Round, he's hard. He might have been the most underappreciated in here. Yeah. I mean, it's a good top 3. So
That goes to show you the depth of the show. If he's fourth, a lot of muscle on him, a lot of mature-looking muscle, a lot of dense muscle.
Yeah, it's a shame they don't have an open class at this Europa show.
Why don't they?
I don't know. They don't want to do it anymore. They probably don't want to give away the prize money. I don't blame them. It's a waste of money. The sanction is much higher, too. And that's the only thing I could think of.
Maybe they can award two things. They can award a purse and followers. They can give you like $3,000 plus like 300,000 followers on Instagram.
They had it open. They did have open bodybuilding only in the wheelchair division. Harold Kelly winning it. I don't think Harold Kelly has ever lost a show since he started winning in that wheelchair division. We'll see what Chris Dim could do against him at the Olympia, but Chris couldn't beat him at the Arnold. We'll see what happens. Congratulations to him. I see Sandra Grajales won figure, and Tiffany LaPointe second, Ashley Jones third. So. Good show at the Dallas Europa. We love to see that. Let's see what else took place this past weekend. We had a show, the Northern California, that was had a pro men's physique division there, which was won by Shuraqua Shabazz. I like his physique. Congratulations. Anthony Woods in second, and Dean Ballovas third. There was pro bikini there, won by Ashley. Man, Ashley Kaltwas is tearing up every show. She's doing everything. She's like, I don't care if you don't let me win the Olympia. I'll just win every other show. Congratulations to her. Let's see what else was going on this past weekend. And then we had the show, the Miami Muscle. Everyone was asking if I was going. I said, I don't go to shows. I don't have time. I went to the Target with with Logan. That's like I'm exhausted from going to Target.
That would deplete you alone.
My son, every time we go, he doesn't even ask for toys anymore. He just starts putting them in the cart. My wife and I have to like sneak them out of the cart.
Yeah, I let them put them in, and when they're not looking, you take them out.
That's what I do. Yeah. He doesn't even remember.
That's what I do. When they were that age, they would put them in the cart, and they would say, okay, instead of fight with them, then I'd take them out.
Yeah,
put them in,
that's what I do. But sometimes you miss a couple. You know, I miss a toy here and there, or sometimes he'll buy a frozen meal. I'm like, what the hell is this? What did we get? I said, man, what the hell is this? Why'd you buy this thing? I didn't buy it. Logan must have thrown it in the cart.
Now, does he have a toy room, or is the whole house just scattered?
The whole house is his toy.
Yeah. We have a toy room. I opened it up for the first time.
Yeah.
In like 4 weeks, and it was just like helter skelter with toys.
Yeah. The truth is, I buy him action figures, but I don't really buy him big things, so it really shouldn't take up that much of my house. But my mother-in-law does. She gets him these like trucks and stuff like that take up the whole room. So I buy him small things. I bought him an Avengers toy chest, so you can put all the action figures in there.
Well, you can go to McDonald's and get the Avengers toys there after you bring them to the movie.
We did. We were doing that, but then all of a sudden they stopped doing it. It's only limited, so we only got 3 or 4 of the little figures, And the Hulk was sold out. I had to take him, making me take him to all the different McDonald's to find the Hulk figure. I said, Logan, you have 14. I bought you 14 Hulks you have at the house. You don't need this.
The McDonald's with the slide and the.
Yeah. We don't go on all that stuff. My son's very accident prone. I keep him away from the slides.
Well, maybe you can sue McDonald's and
You know what the funny thing is in Florida, it's so freaking hot outside. Who the hell wants to go on the slide? The slide is like 100 degrees. You get like 3rd-degree burns going down the slide. So, Miami Muscle Beach men's physique won by Anthony Guy Gilks from New York. Second place. Wow, what a big class this was.
I know, insane, huh?
Carl Presidue from Jacksonville, Florida. 3rd place, Brian Lloyd. Okay. And there was a pro fitness event won by Jacqueline Baker back in the fitness saddle. I love fitness. What a big lineup of fitness girls. There was like 14 fitness girls. That had to be cool. You know what? Until we get another... and I don't know if we ever will, until we get another, what's her name? My favorite.
Your favorite, the one with the routine.
Yeah. Why can't we come up with that name?
Ganesha and Anisha, something the name's like that. That's Kadisha and Anisha. What's her name?
What are you talking about? Come on.
Girl you love.
I know. I can't think of her name for some reason.
Ganesha.
We're both Chris and I are both losing our mind. We're both going to.
What is her name? Come on, it's like I can hear you.
I can do her accent almost. I can interview. I can see her.
Go ahead, do the accent. I'll be you. So
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the winning the Olympia. It means so much to me. Oh, I love to perform and go out there, and I do my. Oh,
she almost cries at this point, right?
Yes, Chris. Yes.
Anna Ganesha.
It's my dream to win Olympia. When I grow up, in
where? In
Lithuania, because I want to teach people how to just do the things that you love.
Do you love the fans?
Oh yes. Oh, I cannot thank them enough for giving me the opportunity to perform for them. To make them smile and to be sad and to.
Come on, Dave. You can't remember her name?
Of course not.
It's one of your favorite interviews. That's why you can remember exactly what she says.
Yeah. I've interviewed her 1,000,000 times. Right?
If your wife was awake, we'd know exactly what her name was.
Look, I've said her name 4,000 times, Oksana Grishina, and I can't remember it. I don't know.
That's it, Oksana Grishina.
I know. I had to look it up. I'm losing. You and I are both losing our freaking.
Grishina, Oksana Grishina. What's her last name?
Grishina. Chris, it's Grishina. Imagine Nasser interviewing Oksana Grishina. Yes, I don't really like this interviewing. I would really prefer to talk about myself, but they tell me I have to interview you. So what is interesting about you? I don't. Flipping does not matter to me. Are you an intellectual? Oh, Nasser, I love to watch you pose. Oh, you have so much muscle, and I feel your energy. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, oh, I am glad you have noticed this, but they have let this blind guy beat me at the last show, and I don't understand why they would let a blind guy beat me. Well, maybe they are just sending a message to you, Nasser, they want you to express yourself without having to see. So might be a message. Maybe Oksana, or maybe you need you might need to go to psychiatric counseling because I don't know where you're getting this from. Have you seen that his arms are 12 inches and mine are 25 inches? And what are these judges looking at? Oh, Nasser, I never criticize judging because it is interpretation of what you do on stage and how you explain it to the audience with your actions. Yes, Oksana, I think that I am wanted back at the planet Earth, so I will end this interview right now because you are a mental midget and I cannot talk to people like that. Unfortunately, this whole industry is littered with them, and that is why I do not win Mr. Olympia. So
I wonder why Nasser never went over to. Oh, I guess they weren't going over to Oxygen at the time.
No, there was no Oxygen then. No. Nasser probably would have been living there. No, Chris, I think that they are morons over there. They pretend to have knowledge, but really they are just they are stealing from everyone else around the world, and they are just pretending that it is their information. And he would have completely exposed the whole thing as a fraud, unless they brought him in as a partner. Then he'd defend the whole thing. Nasser, you want to come in as a half partner with me on a new oxygen gym? Yes, that would be good, but I will take 60%. You will put all the money up. he would tell Vader. Vader would be like, yeah, later, Nasser. I'll call you tomorrow. Never call him again. Fucking crazy people.
I'm waiting, Dave. I'm waiting for you to get Vader on.
I know. Well, he's not ready. When he's ready, he'll come on. All right, let's get to the unfortunate news, unfortunately, because too many people have been passing on our industry. It's like every week it's another name. Matt Porter was last week. So I get the notification from several people, obviously, that Big Al Fortney died. Now, did you know Big Al?
I recall, that he was big and round, and I remember, I know of him back in the day. I never met him. I never spoke with him.
I liked Al. I got along with him very well. I'll tell you one thing. When you saw Al in the office, the reason it was called Big Al, I mean, because everyone's big. Big Jim Quinn, big this, big that, right? Al Fortney in the offseason was one of the biggest guys I'd ever seen. He wasn't tall or anything like that, but he was so wide. I couldn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
He almost looked uncomfortable. Like I wasn't sure he was a bodybuilder. That's how big he
He was
was.
what, a strongman or a powerlifter?
Yeah, he was just enormous.
Yeah.
He was enormous. I remember at the 2002 Nationals when I placed second behind Tony Freeman, he was fifth. That was the best he had ever done. I think it was the only time he ever placed at Nationals. He was great. He looked great at that show. He beat some good guys. But he beat Bill Wilmore that show. That was a good show. That was when Tony won. I was second, Matt Duvall third, Eddie Moisen fourth, Al Fortney fifth. It was a good top five. Very good. And I thought he was doing well. And I recently I'd moved to Tijuana. He was living in, and he would call me up every once in a while, and he would buy our Species products. Him and his wife were using them. And he would sell it to his clients down there. And I thought he was doing well. I said, okay, Al, you know what? You're better off. You got out of Dodge. Do whatever you want down in Tijuana. It's like the Wild West down there. He liked it. I don't know what happened, though. I don't know if he had a heart problem. I would guess heart. He was still very big, which is a big mistake. Who was I just talking to recently? Oh, Farnsworth. Was it Farnsworth I was talking to? We were just saying, these guys over 40 years old, they don't realize you can't weigh 250 pounds anymore. It's dangerous. You never know what's going on. And I think a lot of these guys don't bother going to doctors. I'm convinced a lot of deaths could be avoided by just going to doctors. Because you know what happens, Chris? Things go wrong. Even if you take good care of yourself, things go wrong with you. You don't know. How do I know that my aorta was enlarged? How did Dallas McCarver, how would he have known he had a blockage, 90% blockage in his coronary arteries? He wouldn't have unless he went for a test.
Yeah.
Mel Chansey found out he had a blockage. He went for a cardiac CT with contrast a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Found out he had a blockage. He had to get a stent in there. I mean, he saved his life. I told him, I said, Mel, I know you feel terrible about it, but who cares? You saved your life, This is just... You got to do this stuff. I mean, we're not invincible. I thought of all people, I thought Ronnie Coleman was invincible. I thought he was unbreakable. I didn't think he could ever be there. I didn't think he could ever be stopped. I thought he would win 10 Olympias. I said, there's no way this guy could be damaged. I think he's like Superman. And look what happened to him. So we're all vulnerable. And you know what? The one person you can't beat on stage is Father Time. Although Dexter Jackson's doing a pretty fucking good job on him. But he'll catch him too. Father Time always wins. So Big Al, we send out condolences, obviously, to your family. And if you're watching over us, Al, imbue us with the energy to continue doing what we do. So you'll be missed. And then I also got word, the same day, actually, that Gianluca Catapano, he was an IFBB pro from Italy. I know you know who he is. I don't know if the viewers out there might not all know who he is. He died, too. Now, Alex Ardente, the videographer out there in California, he told me, he has connections in Italy there, and he told me that they told him that it was cancer-related. I don't know if it was stomach cancer or some kind of GI cancer. And he, did you have any interactions with him?
No, I did not.
I'll tell you my story. Yeah, I used to see him at shows. He was a nice guy. He wasn't a great bodybuilder, but he loved bodybuilding. You ever meet these guys who just love? It doesn't matter. They could be the last. They can come in last at every show. He competed. He competed every year, and he never really did well in the pros. I don't even know how he turned pro, to be honest with you. But he just loved competing. I told him, I saw him in Vegas once, and I told him, I said, Gianluca, maybe you should just stop competing. You know, what I know you like to compete and everything, you like to be big, just train, and it's not worth putting your body under all that strain. And I don't know, he might have listened to me, because I think the last time he competed was 2013. I don't think he was competing anymore. He had a bunch of injuries too. And the last conversation we had was, I was in Vegas, and he's like, you know, I have a really good friend at the Palazzo Hotel who was it the Palazzo? I think it was the Palazzo. It was either the Venetian or the Palazzo. I can't remember. I think it was the Palazzo, who can get you a table at this really great restaurant. I said, yeah? And I said, all right. I said, give me his number. I called the guy up. I went up there, took care of me, rolled out the red carpet for us. It was expensive. They gave us a huge discount on the meal, but it was still expensive. It was like a 5-star restaurant. It was the greatest Italian food I ever had. He knew this guy from Italy or something like that, and the wine was good. They were giving us free wine. It was an amazing dinner, and I thanked him after that. I had seen him after that. I thanked him for that. But what a great meal that was. And so that's my memory of Gianluca Catapano, and he'll be missed as well, because we don't want to see any guys die. Because these are all guys in our age range, Chris. You know, these are not really these are not old guys like in their 70s and 80s. These are like 40s, 50-year-old guys, you know, and they're just dropping too many of them. Too many. Hate to see that happen, you know. And you know what the truth is? I think in life people die, you know. It might not be anything related to bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mentioned that last week, in other words.
People get cancer, people get heart attacks.
But yeah.
We think that we're immune from that, Chris, because we take good care of ourselves, or we think we take good care of ourselves. You know, we try to stay in shape, we try to eat right, we take vitamins, whatever, and you know, we look better than the average person walking around. You know, you look at a guy, you know, former bodybuilder, and you say, well, that guy's, you know, unless he let himself go, he's in good shape. You know, he looks young. He takes care of himself. You know, unfortunately, it doesn't. You know, sometimes you just succumb to your genetics. It's sad, but it's true. So live every life, or I say live every day.
Live every day.
Yeah, live every day as if it's precious, because it is.
It'd be a good time for a quote of the week.
I have it. I was going to hit you with my quote of the week. Don't do anything that you don't really want to do. Keep yourself in a place of feeling good. Reach for the thoughts that feel better, and watch what happens. That's not my advice, although I completely agree with it. But it was a quote, and I don't know who said it. It's unknown, but it's true. Don't do anything you don't want to do. Just do things you enjoy, and you'll see. You know, whenever things are going wrong in my life, where I think something happened and it's bothering me, I did some stupid. I had this snake, okay, that it was very pregnant, and I thought maybe it was the eggs were stuck. They call it egg bound. So I was massaging it a little bit, and I pushed a little too hard, I think an egg popped out, but it was still attached, and I was like really kind of pissed off about the whole thing. I was like, what an idiot I am. So I just left it there, and I don't, you know, I went to see an orthopedic surgeon this past week to look at my knee, my quad. He's like, as physicians, we say, do no harm. That's it. Do no harm. I said, well, maybe you shouldn't touch my quad then. He's like, that's what I'm thinking. So the bottom line is,
what happened to the egg?
So I left I said, you know, I'm going to leave the snake here. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to make it worse. I'm not going to try to do surgery on it. I'm not going to try to get the other eggs out. It's premature. I don't know why. This thing should have delivered months ago, but it's whatever. It got delayed. I know the thing, obviously it's not stuck now. I just left the one hanging out of there. It's attached by some blood vessels and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? Let's let the big man upstairs take care of it. Let's see what happens. And I'm not going to let it bother me. And I went and played with my kids, and I forgot about it. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. My point is, it's a stupid analogy, really, but it really is. Things go wrong in your life. Don't let that something stupid that happened today affect the rest of your week. You know, dismiss it. Focus on something that's good in your life. That's why I went and I started playing with my kids, and that took my mind off of whatever negative thoughts I was thinking. You know, and that's what you got to do. You know, it happens to bodybuilders all the time. You're in the gym, right? you doing a set of squats, everything's going great, and all of a sudden you pull a hamstring. 3 weeks out from your show, you're like, I just fucked up everything. I can't believe it. You want to just sit there and obsess about it and complain about it. And that's the worst thing you can do. The worst thing. Why obsess on something that you don't want to obsess on? You're just going to make it worse. Focus on what's good. Go do what you can do. Can you pedal a stationary bike? Can you go prepare your meals for tomorrow? Go answer emails from your clients? Whatever you got to do. Don't focus on what you don't want in your life. Only focus on what you do want. And if you have nothing going on good, find something good. Go outside and smell, flowers that look beautiful. And it's funny. Things just have a way of changing when you do that. And it sounds, as my father would say, very tutti frutti. But it's true. It really is true. That's my advice for everyone out there. What do you think about that?
I think people focus way too much on the negative, which is most of it is just in their head.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, because life is filled with negatives. A day is filled with negatives. But the option is to and the key word I think is option, is you have a choice to think about it and worry about it, or just focus on something else. And it's hard to focus on two things at once. So if you focus on something else, even if it's not that positive, even if it's just a little bit more positive than the negative, you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I got a question for the technician from our friend Derek, who always asks you questions, sends you stuff that you don't get because I keep it.
You're the gatekeeper of it.
There was a good Chris. He's got 3 questions for you. There was a good rant from Jay on gym etiquette. What is yours? What is yours and Chris's most annoying, poor gym etiquette behaviors that you've encountered? Do you have any?
My pet peeve when I was in the gym last time, about 20 years ago, would be when somebody, and I do this all the time to people, they'd say, I was using that, and I just ignore them, because I would never get on a piece of equipment without looking left, right, up, down, and seeing, okay, this equipment is available, and someone would come up and say, I was using that. I'm like, well, that was what? I mean, I've been on it 5 minutes,
right?
So I would usually give them my typical. I would just completely ignore them, and they'd say, hey, I was using that, and I just just look at them.
My pet peeve is people not sweating all over the machine.
Oh, not cleaning them up? Oh, because you're a germphobe.
No, I don't even care about that. It's just wipe. You don't even have to spray it down. Just have it wipe the fucking sweat off there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how people sweat as much as they do. I see these guys dripping sweat. Even when I was at my biggest and squatting 6 plates, I didn't sweat that much.
Well, some people are sweaters.
Ugh. Then if you're a sweater, you should bring a towel around with you and you should wipe your sweat out. That drives me nuts. That's really the only thing that irritates me. Or people that sit on the same, and it's usually, I hate to say it, it's usually women, they sit on the machine, but I've seen it happen with guys too. And they just sit there. They do a set and they sit there. They do a set and they sit there. And then you'll ask them, hey, mind if I work in? And they're like, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Get off. You're resting. You don't need to rest while sitting on the fucking machine. Get off the machine. I mean, do I have to? I don't like to be nasty to people, so I'm just usually sarcastic, but it's unbelievable. Or these women that sit on the adductor machine, and they talk on the phone while they're doing it, for 40 minutes. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't even go to the gym anymore, so nothing bothers me anymore. I work out at home. I go to the gym. I go to the gym once every 2 weeks when my dogs have to go to the groomer. After I drop them off, I go do a 20-minute workout if I'm lucky. You don't even go to the gym. You're smarter than all of us.
No, I'm on the Trump plan.
Yeah, you don't want to waste any energy. Now, here's question 2. If Ruli Winkler had won the Olympia last year, do you think it would have been justified? And do you think Phil wouldn't have been as critical?
Ruli was not in the running, dude.
That's what I thought too. I
You
agree
know,
with that.
Rolly was not in the running last year. I don't care if he's a people's champion. There was a big difference, a big gap between Sean and Phil and Rolly.
Agreed.
I didn't even listen to the rest of the question.
Well, the last one is, do you think Phil wouldn't have been as critical as he was towards Roden winning?
Oh, no. He would have been... no, he has to be critical with Sean's because Sean's been quietly there in the background, second, third. So Sean has always been, quote, a threat. And if you go back to 2012, when, Sean had that stellar breakthrough year, won a couple pro shows, went to the Olympia, nobody was thinking of him. He got third. Phil went pretty much straight off the bat right away and said, Sean Roden's no threat. I think everyone's a threat. I mean, I help Sean Roden, but I think Rolly's a threat to him. I think Bonac is a threat to him. I think Phil is a threat to him. I think
Curry.
I think every single person I think Curry is a threat to him. I think Cedric McMillan is a threat to him. I think you always have to take your competition as a threat.
I agree. And then his final statement was really not a question. He said, I think Jay is in L.A. If he plans to head to Redondo Beach, let him know. I'll be happy to get him into our club. It's high-end and overlooking the ocean.
Oh, Jay loves... Was it like a training club?
Yeah, I'm sure Jay doesn't need anyone's help getting into any clubs, that's for sure. But he could probably go anywhere he wants. People always ask me, what do you miss most about being huge? Do you miss being big? And I'm like, no. The only thing I miss about it was I never paid to go into any gyms. I always would walk to the desk and they'd be like, you can go train. If it was a real bodybuilding gym, not if it was like a health club.
Well, the real bodybuilding gyms are a little bit far. They're not as common, right?
I don't know. I never had a gym membership. I never had to pay. This was the first time when I moved to Florida. This was the first time I had to pay for a gym membership. I never paid for a gym membership since the very beginning.
Didn't even know what they cost.
I didn't even know what they cost. They're actually, it's lucky that I didn't pay because while I wasn't paying for gym memberships, that's when they were the most expensive. Now it's $10 a month for these clubs.
Yeah.
It's like a joke. I have two memberships that I don't even use. How's that? I belong to around the clock.
You're going to the gym when you get your dog's groomed for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I have two separate gyms there. Yeah.
I knew that
they make money on me. In the past, they would have never made money on me because I probably abused their equipment, for many years. So, but the Weinberger always let me train for free, and then I had other gyms also in New York that let me train for free. And if I would go on vacation somewhere, I always find a gym that they just knew who I was. It was great. I'm sure Jay is probably me times 10. I mean, because everyone knows Jay Cutler. So, I remember they tried. What gym was it? They tried to charge. They tried to charge Dorian somewhere. I can't remember what gym it was. I don't remember what it was. They tried to charge Dorian to train somewhere. It was very embarrassing because I was there with him. I wasn't there with him. I was there at the same time, and I think I was like, "Do you know who this fucking guy is?" He's like, "I don't give a shit. I'll pay the fucking $10, whatever, But it was really embarrassing. These gym people, they don't. A lot of these times they don't even know. I pull the whole. I used to go in there with the film crew. You know what I mean? If you go in with the film crew, the gym owners like that. They're like, oh yeah, go ahead, go train, whatever.
Yeah. What were you filming? You mean stuff for?
Yeah, I used to have I would go and I'd always take pictures of my website and stuff like that. Before social media was big, I think I started social media, to be honest with you. Now I used to go back in around 2001. I started going around to all the different shows because I was helping competitors, and I would just go and show up at them, the Junior Nationals, Junior USA Nationals. There really wasn't contest coverage per se, but I would take pictures, like paparazzi shots. I would take some stage pictures, and I would put them on my DavePalumbo.com website. I had like a photo gallery there, and everyone was going to my website. And I was seeing judges at my website, on computers and lobbies and stuff like that, and they were looking at the pictures and stuff like that, what was going on. And that was real, and that's really the reason why Blackman hired me to start Muscular Development's website, because he saw that I was getting a lot of traffic at my own personal website. And I stopped doing this stuff on my website once I started working for MD, but that was the beginning of contest coverage. I was just doing it as a goof, and there was no hits, and there was no monetization, and there was no social media. I just knew I had a lot of traffic on my website. I probably had as much traffic on my website as MD had on their website when we started it. But then it switched over, obviously. But it was just it was like the fledgling. I was like practicing basically on my own website, and so yeah, it is what it is.
Imagine how less popular Instagram would be if you didn't have the ability to click on like.
Look, Instagram came really from Facebook, kind of was a takeoff of MySpace. Remember MySpace was first?
Yeah.
But Facebook made it kind of cool because when it started in college campuses. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg started it out of, Harvard. It was like an exclusive like Harvard club, basically. It was called The Facebook. And it was all the Harvard. They were doing all the Ivy League schools, basically. They hooked up to this thing. And then word got out, and then everyone wanted to get on it. It went beyond college campuses. And it was a way for people to kind of just see who was dating who and who was available. That's really what it started as, a dating site, what your interests were. Put your pictures up there. And then Instagram decided, you know what? No one really wants to read anything. Let's just put pictures up. And then Facebook said, "Holy shit, man, that's a good idea. We better buy Instagram before they fucking put us out of business." Because imagine if Facebook would have bought, if MySpace would have bought Facebook, from Zuckerberg, and there would be no Zuckerberg, So Facebook was smart. They bought Instagram.
MySpace. That was the guy who owns Fox.
Was it? I don't even know who started it, to be honest with you.
I think it was, what's his face? Yeah, who owns Fox? Not Yamagishi'S.
Oksana, I hated the fact actually when Facebook came out. I'm like, oh fuck, because I was really into MySpace. I loved it. I thought it was great, and I put all my stuff in. And then I'm like, I gotta go do another one now. All the Canadian people were doing Facebook. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll just go on there to communicate with my Canadian people, my Canadian clients. And then before you know it, Facebook kind of supplanted for MySpace, and then no one was on MySpace. So, but now Facebook is banning like the sale of animals on there. You can't sell animals on there unless you advertise with them. So a lot of people are leaving Facebook and they're trying to start. There's a new site out called MeWe. I don't know if you've seen that.
Of course, I don't know it.
Okay, MeWe is another site, and they pretty much let you do whatever you want on there. Now, I think a lot of people probably don't even know where MeWe comes from. Do you know where that comes from? You should know this.
Ali's poem.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from. I don't know if that's the case. George Plimpton had been interviewing Muhammad Ali. He said, "Give me a poem," or something like that.
It was the shortest poem you can come up with.
Yeah, and he said MeWe, and he said that
he actually paused. He said "me" like question mark, and he shook his head in negation. And it was at a college campus. It was a speech. It was the shortest speech it was a speech for graduating like Harvard or something.
Oh, is that what it was?
And he said "me," and then he shook his head no. No. And then he paused, and he said "we," and then he shook his head up and down like the affirmative, and the student body went nuts. In other words, right?
Yeah.
In the future, it's a team effort.
Yep. Great.
It's about community. It's about working together, not about being self-centered.
It's funny because Ali was so like it was sad in a sense that he couldn't really speak toward the end of his life, because he probably would have been a great speech, guy giving inspirational speeches and stuff like that later in life, and he lost that ability because he couldn't really speak very well, obviously with the Parkinson's.
It's the irony of it all.
Yeah. But he was very, very wise. It's like Tyson. You think that Mike Tyson's a moron, because he grew up with no education really, and he broken homes, and just a badass guy. And he's very intelligent. If you hear him get interviewed by people, he's got a lot of wisdom, in that brain of his. He's not a dumb guy. He's a very smart guy.
Very smart. Got a lot of life experience.
And he has a lot of insight into how self-destructive he was about himself.
Yeah. It's amazing that he's so introspective.
He knows. He's like, I was a fucking punk. I was a fucking bully. I was, I'm shocked to hear him talk about himself, like that.
I never got over the fact, though, that Robin Givens took him to the cleaners.
He knew he was vulnerable. He's like, I never had a girl, a high class girl like that interested in me. He goes, I thought I hit the fucking lottery with this girl, And he goes, you know what? It was my own fault. He goes, I was a fucking monster. He said. So if she would have just said, this guy is nuts and I'm leaving him, and not gone after all his money, people would have sided with her on that whole thing.
Yeah.
The fact that her and her mom, conspired to take all of Tyson's money.
Was involved.
Yeah, that no one liked that.
Plot, as your father would say from the beginning.
Yeah, and they hatched. It was a script.
It was a script. He would say.
Yeah,
and he was just the straw man in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was like she got his money as easy as Anna. Remember Anna Nicole Smith?
Yeah. When she was with that billionaire, Howard Marshall.
Yes, God, how do you remember that name? And you don't remember the girls who you interviewed like 4,000 times for winning their, fitness Olympia. I
know, it's crazy. Yeah, and the Marshall family, I think they're still fighting. They were still fighting her.
They were fighting for years over Will.
Yeah. Yeah, he was worth billions. I think she got the money after all was said and done. She got a nice chunk of it, which obviously went to her daughter. Yeah. The daughter looks just like her. Someone put a picture up of her.
Yeah.
She's like the spitting image of her.
Do you know where she died?
I don't remember, no.
She died in Hollywood at the casino.
Oh, she did? Oh, right in the hotel room? Was that when Marilyn Monroe died?
No, I don't know where Marilyn Monroe died.
I thought they died in the same place. I might be making that up.
Or are you making it?
I might be making it up. I don't know. It sounds like they were I remember hearing something about that. Let me look it up, since I'm looking things up nowadays.
Sounds like one of those Kennedy,
right?
Kennedy Abraham Lincoln conspiracy.
I did a term paper on that. About the coincidences of the two. I think we've talked about this, but
no, we have not on the coincidences of the assassination of Kennedy and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln,
or the whole life too. Yeah, they were like 100 years apart. There's like 50 different things that.
Oh gosh, the assassins. There's a million. What college needs a term paper on the conspiracy of that?
I did it in high school.
Oh, in high school.
And the teacher only gave me a B+. He said, it's very interesting. I thought it was the most interesting term paper I read. He goes, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't much of it. There wasn't really much of an analysis of it, other than the fact that there was a lot of interesting facts in there.
Yeah, I'm sure you loved it putting it together, right?
Yeah. There was no internet then. Nowadays it would have taken me 10 minutes to write the paper because I could have Googled it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Give us a couple of the coincidences.
I'm looking up Marilyn Monroe right now. Hold on. I don't know. They're saying Anna Nicole Smith died from the same drug that killed Marilyn Monroe.
Same
that
drug.
Was the coincidence.
Which was what? What did they overdose from?
I'm going to tell you. Chloral hydrate.
What's that do?
It's like a knockout pill.
A knockout pill, Dave. What's it supposed to do? Relax you? I mean, why do people take it?
Why did Michael Jackson take propofol to go to sleep at night?
Because he was like Scooter. He couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah. Because these people have mental problems. That's why. She had supposedly had an infection. She was very sick too. She was just not good. But I don't know what killed Marilyn Monroe. But the medical examiner said that Smith probably didn't realize that her chloral hydrate doses were potentially fatal when taken in combination with other prescription drugs, and her flu and fever had already weakened her body, and that's what killed her, supposedly. Just goes to show you. You never know. Wow, you hear that? We got a crazy thunderstorm going on here. We need the rain. You know, I'm so sick of watering trees because it's been so dry here. Now it's finally starting to rain every day, which is great because I don't have to water anymore. I have so many chores, Chris, on my checklist.
Oh.
I got chores up the kazoo. They're all my own. They're all self-imposed. Cleaning snakes and cleaning my dogs and you know, I have turtles in the garage, you know, and I got to water all the fruit trees I planted. Now we get the pool. I'm like, fuck that. We're hiring someone to do the pool. I'm not doing the pool.
There you go. John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and ran into a warehouse. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy from a warehouse and ran into a theater. There's coincidence number one.
I know that the Kennedy's secretary's name was Lincoln, and Lincoln's secretary's name was Kennedy. That's another good one. I remember that. I think they were shot 100 years apart, too, and they were elected 100 years apart. Right, 1863 versus 1963. Both presidents were elected to Congress at 46 years of age.
They were both assassinated on the same day.
Lincoln and Kennedy have the 7 letters in their name. Both were shot in the head. Both were shot on a Friday. Both successors to both presidents, in other words, the vice presidents were both named Johnson. Last name Johnson. Lyndon Johnson and Andrew Johnson. Right?
Yeah.
Both assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, were born in 1939, or in 39. One in 1839, one in 1939. Both assassins were known by 3 names. Each assassin's name is composed of 15 letters. Both were assassinated before their trials. It goes on and on and on. There's a million different coincidences between the two of them. Both were involved in civil rights, which is probably why they were both killed. It's crazy, right? I don't believe in any coincidences. I think everything is well scripted ahead of time. We're just acting it out. We're like wonderful theater actors that have never read a script. You know how like Woody Allen used to give the people who appear in his movies. He would only give them their part. He would never give them the whole script. So when they would show up on the set, they didn't even know what the movie was about.
I didn't know that.
Because I've seen interviews with people. That's what he did. He sends you only your own lines, and he tells you memorize them. Then you get to the set, and then you're experiencing the movie while you're acting it out, which is obviously very hard to do if you don't know the script, if you don't know the storyline. All right, he just tells you scene by scene. All right, this is what I want you to do. This is what you're feeling. This is what we're trying to get out of the scene.
And then he strings it all together at the end.
Well, that's how movies are shot anyway. They're shot in little vignettes. I mean, little scenes, and then they put it all together. So I believe that's how we are on this planet. We come down here. We don't know really what the script is. We just know what we like and what we want. And
so when you were kicked out of the Nationals and arrested,
I wasn't arrested, but I was removed. The reason for that was so that I won't waste any more time going to the Nationals.
There you go. See, you looked at the positive instead of dwelling on the negative.
There you go. There you go. I don't waste time going to shows anymore. I can report on a show from my house, even though I prefer to be there in person because I could obviously see more of what's going on and I can make better analysis. And that's why I do go to the Olympia and the Arnold, because I think they're the 2 most important shows, and usually the New York Pro when I don't have things to do. And I could do just as much analysis and get just as much people watching the analysis. And so why should we spend the money? And why should I not be treated properly? I'm going to go to the Olympia this year. I'm going to be treated. Well, I'm not going to go to the Olympia. You're going to be at the Olympia, and you're going to be treated like you should
red
be.
Carpet. Dan Solomon going to give me the red carpet treatment.
Dan Solomon's going to treat you with respect, like you should. You're an impressive. You're one of the most important press people in the building, right? So why shouldn't you be treated with respect? If you were going to cover the Super Bowl, right, and you were part of the NBC team that covers it, then you would be treated with respect. So I think that
still going to want to know why Sean showed up in Pittsburgh small and fat. Dan Sullivan's going to say, not Dan Sullivan. Who hosts it? The press conference.
I don't even know if they're going to do a conventional press conference. I think they got a lot of new stuff planned. We'll find out as we get closer more and more from Dan what they're going to do. But.
Yeah, I heard from a very reliable source today, which just by me saying that I know who it is already.
Mm-hmm.
That Dan Sullivan raised an enormous amount of money this year.
Oh yeah, in advertising, absolutely, tremendous. Wings of Strength alone brought in a ton of money.
I should get him to work for my hedge fund.
There you go. That's right. All right. Well, once again, I want to just send our condolences out to Gianluca Catapano, to his family over in Italy there. He'll be missed, but not forgotten. And, of course, Big Al Fortney and his family and all his loved ones. And, we hate to hear about these losses, but they happen. And we move on, and hopefully people learn from this. For now, though, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.